But we've been talking about fireworks as it is November the 5th. And on the Manx Radio Facebook page, we were asking about your favourite fireworks. And Gary's comment said, those garden fireworks were so rubbish. Traffic lights, literally like a candle.
Traffic lights.
Yeah, a candle that went red, yellow, green. And the warnings on the side, stand at least 25 metres away. It'll all be over by the time you walk that far.
Yeah, and you see this. Therein lies the rub with what Gary was saying there, and I think, I can see where he's coming from, because one can only assume that they're sort of going out from the health and safety angle, and that even when I started at Manx Radio, bonfire night used to be a big news story generally, and we'd have all the fire. We'd quite often have virtually all the fire brigades. We'd speak to them all the next day because they've all would have been out dealing with something. These days, I'm not encouraging anyone to do anything rash, but these days the chances are there won't be anything at all, and that there doesn't seem to be anything like the same sort of problems that there were 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. And again, there's no, you wouldn't excuse any injury, and God knows you don't want any injury at all, but I mean, there have been injuries at organised displays as well as private displays, but they don't seem to be very common these days. And yes, some of the fireworks, as Gary was saying there, you'd have a sparkler, and we used to play with sparklers. I never remember anyone being
sparklers.
hurt. But now it's a case of, you must wear asbestos gloves and all the rest of it.
I would never hold a sparkler, even now, without some sort of glove protection.
See, they were the ones we were given when we were very small, and
yeah.
I never remember having to wear gloves. And as long as you weren't stupid with them, we used to write our name in the air, but you'd be outside, there'd be an adult round, and you wouldn't throw them, you wouldn't do anything silly. I don't write my name in.
Maybe there's a bit of an environmental concern about it. I don't know. Maybe people are more conscious about firing things off into the air. Maybe.
Well, it's interesting. We did get a comment on this from Peter, actually, saying fireworks and local government-sponsored displays, which is the way it's pretty much going these days, isn't it? With more and more of these organised displays, rather than people having private parties in their backyard or garden. A nuisance and a pollutant, says Peter. I haven't heard any protests from the Manx Junior Extinction Rebellion warriors. Perhaps it's a case of when it's fun, the environment doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean, I can see where it's coming from, but again, it's where do you draw the line? Because virtually anything to a degree has some sort of pollutive element, I guess, doesn't it? And yes, there's no doubt that it creates a lot of smoke. You would have to say, compared to God knows how many flights every single day around the world, it must be pretty minor in the scale of pollutants. That's not to say it's not a pollutant. Yes, it must be. Yes, they are noisy, but some people really love that and some people don't. And there's no doubt that a firework display brings a lot of pleasure to a lot of people.